A big congratulations for getting this far. It's really hard to take a look at our pride within. And there are lots of different ways to look at pride. Actually, pride has different layers and levels to it. There is the type of pride that you have when you feel superior to others. And pride is actually okay to have in a small amount. It's okay to be proud of your achievements. It's great to feel proud for what you have achieved. We all need that. But there is an imbalance of pride that can happen when someone starts to feel disconnected from source and they start to feel superior over others. And that pride then tries to take over the personality and the ego, the personality that you present to the world, and that's when you can seem very prideful, very arrogant, not taking any type of help or direction from others, and this can be a problem. It can lead to your downfall. So I wanted to read you what Tolkien had to write about pride within the book The Silmarillion, which is a very beautiful way of seeing the kind of creation myth of how everything was created from one source, one consciousness, and there was one part of the consciousness that was discord and that decided to kind of go on its own and do its own creation, and that's why we have evil in the universe. And that was how Tolkien actually explained Sauron and the Dark Army and all those things that are on Middle-earth that don't represent the good and the light. So here is what he said about pride. But now Iluvatar sat and hearkened, and for a great while it seemed good to him, for in the music there were no flaws. And for those of you who are just joining in and you haven't seen any of my other videos on this, I recommend The Creation of Middle-earth if you want to listen to it. I read this entire chapter here. But Iluvatar is the one consciousness within the entire universe that created everything. And he was a music maker, or at least he had thought forms that created the music. There's a lot of things about string theory and vibrations and frequencies going on. And what he's saying is that there were no flaws in the music. The music was completely harmonious because it all came from one source. So there was no discord within that one consciousness. But as the theme progressed, it came into the heart of Melkor to interweave matters of his own imagining that were not in accord with the theme of Iluvatar. Melkor was that part of source that decided to kind of go on its own and do its own thing, away from the harmony of the one. For he sought therein to increase the power and glory of the part assigned to himself. To Melkor, among the Ainur, had been given the greatest gifts of power and knowledge, and he had a share in all the gifts of his brethren. He had gone often alone into the void, places seeking the imperishable flame, for desire grew hot within him to bring into being things of his own, and it seemed to him that Iluvatar took no thought for the void, and he was impatient of its emptiness. Yet he found not the fire, for it is with Iluvatar. But being alone, he had begun to conceive thoughts of his own, unlike those of his brethren. Some of these thoughts he now wove into his music, and straightway discord arose about him, and many that sang nigh him grew despondent, and their thought was disturbed, and their music faltered. But some began to attune their music to his rather than to the thought which they had at first. So this is showing the pride of Melkor / Lucifer within the Christian myth and legends, which is really just a way to get people to see that when they stray from the chance to bring harmony into the world, and when they seek to make their part and their role bigger than everybody else, they disconnect. They disconnect from everyone, and pride soon brings forth downfall. And the downfall will be that the other souls around you will notice that you're disconnected from the source. You're disconnected from them. And so you will lose your success. You will lose all of that. Even if you become a tyrant and you try to dominate over the will of others, you will soon have a fall of pride, because that is how we work together as one consciousness source. We're all in this together. And so that is exactly what happened to Melkor, is that he separated himself from source of Iluvatar, and he gained enemies from among the other Ainur. And then throughout the entire Middle-earth books and legends, Melkor was fighting against the Ainur, because the Ainur were constantly trying to defend the harmony and the peace. And Melkor was just really more interested in having an imbalance of his part that was assigned to him to actually be the discord. So the discord was originally in creation, but it's the imbalance of that part that causes the problem. It's good to have some discord. It's good to have some differences. If everything was always harmonious, well, there wouldn't really be a lot of growth. There would be a lot of joy. There certainly wouldn't be a lot of growth. Discord gives us the opportunity to grow and to learn the divine order from the discord. But when it's imbalanced, that's when you see all the problems that we have in the world. That's when you see Sauron raise his dark army and try to take over everything. He lost connection with the true theme of Iluvatar, that was actually to bring forth growth and happiness and peace to even him. And so that is the downfall of pride on a very spiritual level within people. Now, I will tell you about my own type of pride that I have had to go through. And in fact, I just asked my husband today, I said, would you call me prideful? And he said, yes, right away. And the reason is because he said that sometimes I'm very stubborn and I don't take advice and I don't take help from others. And I try to do everything myself. And so that is something that I absolutely need to work on. And what I have found is that when I do feel prideful within myself, what actually is going on is fear. Deep, deep down inside. It's not that I feel superior to others. It's that my ego actually has some sort of insecurity, some kind of feeling like it needs to bring forth its part into a more bigger expression of itself in order to feel special and to feel loved and to feel recognized. And that simply isn't true. And so with pride, we actually start to see that pride is really having fear, and fear is not strength. So what we want to work on is transforming pride into true strength, into allowing ourselves to be acknowledging of our gifts and our abilities, but to never try to increase them and to make the part bigger in this world that dominates over the wills of others and takes their energy from them. As you heard in the book, the Ainur, they started becoming very despondent and sad about their own music that they were creating because they saw Melkor creating this crazy discord. It was loud and clashing noises and sounds. So while the Ainurs were singing harmonious, peaceful melodies and they were going about their ways, and then you have this one Ainur that just was coming at a very loud, violent type of way about him, that energy was disrupting their energy, and they were getting sad and they were getting depressed and they were hesitating with their own music. And that is really the most sinful part of pride. Not in the idea that you go to hell, but you disconnect from source. You disconnect from other souls around you. You ostracize yourself. You alienate yourself. And so I'm not prideful in the point where I alienate myself from society. I'm not on that path. But some people, they do get to that point. And there is a ladder, a layer to pride. So as much as I am aware of my prideful tendencies to not want to receive help from others and to do everything myself and to think that I can do it all, as long as I'm aware of that, and I actually see it as there are times to be vulnerable and to admit that I don't know everything and that I do need help with something. A lot of times I try to do little simple things by myself that require strength or require some type of skill that I don't necessarily have. And so I try to do it myself and I mess something up. I break it, or I can't get it open, or I can't do that. And it really comes down to an exchange of souls in which you can feel vulnerable enough to and humble enough within you to say, you know what, I can't do this part. This part is part of your creation. And so I need help with this. And that's why we're not good at everything. Every one of us has a little bit of a skill that's a part and a reflection of the creator, of the creation that we come from, of the entire universe. We're all kind of examples of that. So try to see true strength as a way of transforming pride, because pride has a way of actually not showing real strength. It looks like a fake strength. It's an inauthentic type of strength. And people who look at it on a surface level, they may see somebody with pride as being very arrogant and confident, and they feel superior over others. But it's like narcissism. It is actually the opposite. You actually do not, deep down inside, feel superior over others. You feel that you are lacking in some kind of way and you don't have the strength, and so you increase your part in order to feel special. And that is your ego, because you have become disconnected from source and realize that we're all special. There's no reason to increase your part. You have a special role to play as everybody else does. But to dominate your will over others and to try to take over others and be a tyrant, that is an example of pride imbalanced in this world. And so a lot of us have that to work on. Pride can come in the most subtle ways, just as I explained, the idea of you just not wanting to take advice from others. You just not wanting to take some help from others. I see pride all the time within others. I see pride within myself. I know that pride is there because it's a reflection of all the myths and all the legends and all the tales that have been warned about or trying to taught to humanity in order for them to move beyond pride and to actually reach for real, true inner strength. So learn how to balance that pride. Say to yourself sometimes that it's okay to not know everything. It is okay to not be the greatest in everything. It is okay to not be perfect in every single skill and ability that is known on earth. You have a special, unique part, just as every Ainur had a special, unique part. And as long as you learn to play that part to the best ability and be in balance with others and not seek to destroy others and not take away their parts, then that is when you will have peace. Nobody will be attacking you. Nobody will be trying to defend themselves from your energy that is increasing and trying to dominate over theirs. And this is a way how we transform pride within our subconscious. We get to the point where we are okay with being vulnerable and being humble enough to admit that we do not have to be perfect in everything. We do not know everything. We have our special skills and we can be proud of that, but we do not have to feel superior in every single aspect just to cover up a lack of confidence and self-esteem within us, afraid that really we're not good at anything. Teach yourself to love and to appreciate the gifts that you have and the abilities that you have. Look at those gifts and those abilities. Be happy for that. And then be able to laugh at yourself. Be able to, I laugh at myself now when I can't do something. I'm like, oh, okay, that's just not in my realm of skills. I just can't do that. So I go to my husband or I go to my friends and I get help now. So my husband was being kind of funny today when he was like, yes, but he knows that I have been working on this. And this is a journey for me because that is where I want to get to. I want to completely transform that unconscious part of myself that is in the subconscious of myself, and it gets triggered whenever I feel insecure, and whenever somebody tries to come up with their skills that are more powerful than mine, or that I perceive to be more powerful, or they make me feel, because they're trying to be prideful at that point, they try to make me feel less. There's this whole other layer. So a lot of our prides are actually hitting against each other. And so when society becomes a little bit more, everybody on a whole becomes more vulnerable and humble to one another, there will be less pride in the world. We won't have to feel like we defend one another, and the energy exchange will be more authentic and real, in which we will accept, yeah, there's some things that we are just not created to do. We're just not that part of creation. But there are some things that we are, and that this is a gift and this is a special ability that we have. And you can hone in on that and cultivate it and become a wonderful source of good and service for the world. But when you try to be good in everything, and a lot of our elites in this world are polymaths, so they love to learn about every single subject, which is great, but then they start to feel superior. There's this kind of academia superior nature to those that attend Ivy League universities and schools. They look at themselves in a superior nature sometimes. Their obstacle is to be at those higher levels of education and to not think of themselves as superior to others, because they have to know that that person that never went to school, they might have a certain type of street smart and type of experience in their life that gained them some kind of knowledge and wisdom that those who go into high academia never attained. And that's how we have to look at each other, is having gifts that each of us have, and to really work on the fear within us and the self-esteem issues within us, so that we don't feel a need to try to increase that power and then dominate over others. And that's what pride does. And that's what Lucifer did and Melkor did. The story about Lucifer within the Christian Bible and within the Quran, very similar in the idea that God was said to create Adam first, and Lucifer was his angel, and Lucifer had all these wonderful qualities to him, but he somehow felt insecure and said to God, "Why are you creating Adam? I'm your best creation. I'm made of fire, the spirit of fire and flame, and you just created an earthly human being made out of corn and dirt," and corn in the Aztecs myth, but dirt, and what is this? And that was the pride of Lucifer. Then Lucifer said, well, I'm going to set out to show you that this person, that this type of creature is nothing compared to me. And that is the myth of Lucifer. So that's why Lucifer is a lot of times symbolized by pride. And what happened to Lucifer? He fell from the consciousness of heaven. Well, he fell from heaven in the war in heaven when he started to play that part of the adversary to God. And he was cast out of heaven and brought down to earth, and humans have that same type of path. And so it's a symbol, it's a metaphor for a fall in consciousness. When you are prideful, you disconnect from source, you disconnect from all other souls, and you fall in consciousness, and you actually start living in the lower chakras, such as the root and the sacral and the solar plex, which are great chakras to open. But if you live from there, you're never going to open up your heart to feel real love. You're never going to get and receive divine messages of truth and wisdom coming to you from the throat chakra. You're never going to have the third eye open and show you the truth and the illusions of yourself and of this world. You're never going to then reconnect to the divine, which is what the crown represents. So, may all humans right now start to transform the pride within and see themselves as having very special gifts that were bestowed to them when they were designed themselves way before space-time. These are the gifts that they can hone in on, and they can specialize in, and they can be proud about, but then not to seek to increase those gifts or to increase themselves in the world on a whole level, and to forget about their connection to others while they try to dominate over others and become tyrant over others, and to take energy from others and to make others feel badly and depressed and sad. It's time that everybody becomes more humble within and to allow themselves their truer abilities and nature to shine through. And that shows inner strength, true inner strength, not a fake, inauthentic strength that is just a cover-up for us insecurity or a lack of self-esteem. I think it's safe to say that in all the legends and the myths, when you really get down to it and you analyze the nature of Lucifer, Lucifer was just insecure. He was insecure that God didn't love him anymore just because a new creation was created. And that was never the truth. All beings in this universe are created equal and loved equally. We all come from the collective source of love. And we all are here to experience ourselves. And we have the creation to thank. So find the inner strength, the true inner strength within, and you will not be prideful. And that is something that everybody must work on, including me. So I'll see you on the next video, the last one, Wrath.